Listen to me, there is no such thing as a healthy narcissist. Would you say there is a healthy heart attack or healthy poison? No. Narcissism is a term that is used for negative characteristics, negative actions, a negative personality type. A person who is narcissistic is entitled, self-centered, vain, arrogant, grandiose, and so many more things. The question really is, how narcissistic are they? Are they what I call pathologically narcissistic, like narcissistic personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, antisocial personality disorder? These narcissists harm people, and many do not have empathy and are focused on their own needs at the exclusion of others. As I wrote in my book, The Human Magnet Syndrome, you can be focused on your own needs for love, respect, and caring. You could even be more focused on those than other people. It doesn't make you a narcissist. If you are focused on your needs, you are ignoring other people's needs. It can be healthy, it can be dysfunctional, or somewhere in between. You know, you think of someone who goes to graduate school, such as I, and you don't have any time for anyone except your studies. People might think you're self-centered, but it's not narcissistic. So let's not use the term incorrectly. Another thing to remember, some people just get carried away with themselves. Maybe they just want a pageant. They graduated high school or college, they got a good job. Maybe they just never knew how to brag about themselves. So let's not jump the gun and call everyone narcissistic. Codependency. Oh my God, really? We have to stop using this term. It means nothing. It comes from the 70s. It actually means the partner of an alcoholic. Let's stop using it, because why call someone something that means something they're not, makes them feel bad? So I say codependent no more. If we're going to use a term, let's use a term that I created, one that reflects the problem. Self-love deficit disorder, SLDD, or the person, SLD, self-love deficient. The name should have meaning. It should reflect the problem. If you have a depression problem and you are diagnosed with depression, well, guess what? You're depressed. If you're codependent, you are not dependent on someone else. In fact, most codependents take care of everyone else. They're not dependent. They might be dependent on emotions or some dysfunctional connection to the relationship. So let's call people who they are, and let's not use it as a bad name. You know, well, he's so codependent, he never stands up for himself. Well, maybe he is insecure. Maybe he has no self-esteem. But don't use names for problems that, one, are not accurate, two, were invented to describe something that doesn't even exist, and three, is not accepted by the psychological or mental health community. So if you want to call someone who's a pleaser, a caretaker, we'll call them that. But if they don't know how to stand up for themselves and are always in relationships with narcissists and want to take care of people that don't take care of them, let's call them self-love deficient. I'm not done with my rant yet. Another thing that really bothers me is when people make fun of codependents and call them weak, pathetic. Give them advice like, you should just walk away and just tell that guy to hit the road. Set a boundary. Say no. Come on. If your friend was a heroin addict, would you say, dude, just stop taking heroin? Just say no to it. Just look at it and just think of all the bad things that happen and say no. Well, you know you wouldn't say that because it's an addiction. And addictions play havoc on your brain and make you crazy. And I say that lightly. Well, the same thing with codependency, or what I call self-love deficit disorder. It's an addiction. You don't believe me? Ask any SLD, codependent, who has tried to leave their partner and comes back because of the most unbearable, bone-aching withdrawal symptom, pathological loneliness and core shape. And that brings them back because they can't deal with the pain of being alone. This is why I wrote my book, The Human Magnet Syndrome. This is why I changed the name to Self-Love Deficit Disorder. This is not a problem of weakness. This is not a problem of just a passive personality who doesn't know about boundaries. This is a person who was hurt tremendously as a child. I call it attachment trauma. They were traumatized from birth and often all the way to the end of adolescence because one of their parents was a pathological narcissist and the other was an SLD or a codependent. They were raised in a dysfunctional environment and at a time when they were supposed to be loved unconditionally, respected and cared for, they were hiding, they were pretending, they were molding themselves into the person that the narcissist would either like, love, or adore, or just not hurt. They were always sad, lonely, and broken children who just craved for someone to rescue them, and no one did. So the last thing you want to do is make fun of someone who's a codependent. If your Uncle Larry, who was a drunk for 25 years, all of a sudden, because he decided to go into treatment for his alcoholism, and he comes back out of treatment, would you make fun of him because he has a problem and he sought help? No, you probably pat him on the back or give him a big hug and say you're proud of him. Well, have some compassion and empathy for codependents or SLDs, because these are people that carry a huge, huge burden every day, all the time. And until they get to the bottom of it and seek what I call self-love recovery treatment, they are going to be unhappy. And because they don't know any better, they're going to be magnetically attracted to the exciting, charming bad boy or bad girl. The human magnet syndrome soulmate is going to be their soulmate. So come on, don't make fun of them, have compassion, and try to get them help. And if you don't know what to say or how to say it, recommend a therapist. And if you don't want to recommend a therapist, recommend my book. And that is the door, when opened, finally tells a person why they are the way they are, and then gives them hope for something different. Oh yeah, what is it with all these therapists that say they specialize in codependency? Come on. If you go on like Psychology Today, find a therapist, which is the world's biggest database for therapists, 60% of therapists say they specialize in codependency. At most, 10, 15% have some skills that could help. The problem is no one knows what codependency is. They think it's just the problem with giving too much or being too weak. They give advice, they listen, they give what I call Band-Aid therapy. Say no to Band-Aid therapy. You don't want someone to make you feel good when you're in a relationship with a pathological narcissist and you are replicating the relationship that you only know that you learned from childhood. This type of counseling or therapy won't get you better. So when you go on these websites or hear from a friend that this guy or this woman specializes in codependency, ask them if they read The Human Magnet Syndrome. Yes, but of course you think I'm self-promoting my book, but I'm not. Because in that book, it describes, like no other book, how narcissists and codependents come together and why it keeps happening. It redefines it. And if they say yes, well, that is a good sign that they understand that codependency is not a problem that of just saying yes too much or having no boundaries or being weak. It's a problem with serious emotional issues, trauma, shame, pathological loneliness, and addiction. And one more thing, and I say this because I used to be one. I believe, and I strongly believe this, and I wrote this in my book, that most therapists, and I'm going to say maybe 75% of therapists, start off the field as SLDs or codependents. Think about it. Why would someone want to get paid not that great amount of money and listen to people's problems and help them and be empathetic? It means they've had practice, a lot of practice. Trust me, I've been in the field 35 years. I was a codependent therapist. It's how people choose careers. They choose careers according to their personality. So when you are looking for a therapist, don't believe what they list on their website. Ask questions. If you bought a house, would you buy it just because what's written somewhere? Would you buy a car because you saw it in a commercial? Due diligence is required. Come on. This is your life. Don't take it down a risky and potentially dangerous path by seeking help from a person who either has a problem that you want help with that doesn't understand it or doesn't understand the solution. And if you want the solutions, there are many resources out there, including my codependency cure work or my self-love recovery treatment program, which can be found at selfloverecovery.com. Okay, guys, I am done today with my rants. And you know what? I have to be honest with you. It was kind of fun. I remember watching on YouTube Lewis Black, who is a phenomenal comedian, and I love watching him. He's like, gets really mad, and but he always says some pretty profound things.
Are you serious? How do you even we live in what is called a post-truth era, is what they're saying. Yeah, that's what saying.
Not that I was trying to copy him. I just gave myself permission to be kind of upset. There's a lot of things to be upset about. And although I'm not going to change my personality and I'm going to be the regular Ross, which you guys have known on YouTube for, I don't know, maybe 10 years. But I'm glad I did this today because there's a lot of good information for you. If you want more information, whether it's about the human magnet syndrome work or what I call the codependency cure work, which is what to do and how to do it, drop us an email at help@selfloverecovery.com or go to my website at selfloverecovery.com because there are resources and educational materials that will make a difference. Also, leave some comments. This community, what I call self-love recovery community of people who don't know anywhere else to go. They don't know a person who really understands their pain. You guys can help each other. So leave comments, answer other people's comments. And if you like, subscribe to my YouTube channel. There you'll get the latest videos and the latest ideas I have. And maybe not from Ranting Ross, the nicer one. All right, guys, be well and take care. Bye-bye.